This first speaker, I just want to reiterate the power of the network. Fundamentally, the people you're going to connect with tonight can stay in your professional network throughout your career. So, kudos to you for making an effort for coming down tonight. It will make a difference in your career by you pitting yourself out and making connections. And our first speaker did just that. I'm not going to take her fire. She can share the story of how she ended up on stage at a sales confidence event. But I just want to introduce Olivia Green, who is a senior inbound SDR at Cladara. She's going to be talking about consistency, having the right attitude and mindset, talking about email outreach and the importance of events. Olivia is basically she's been responsible for the early stages of development at her company, Cladara. So she's had to get right at the coalface in developing opportunities. And they're a reasonably sized business at about 50 employees, I believe. So they're in that kind of scale up phase. And she's been promoted a couple of times already in her role. So she's someone to connect with. And I look forward to her opening up the speech. So give us a loud round of applause for Olivia Green.
Hi everyone, I'm Olivia. I'm a senior inbound SDR at Cladara. And for those of you who don't know, Cladara helps companies discover, purchase, manage, and cancel all your software in one place. So we help finance on one side through virtual cards and IT on the other with features such as Engage, which shows companies whether software tools are being used or not. I've been at the company for roughly a year, and in that year, when I joined, there was roughly 20 people. Now we're at 50, as James mentioned. And it's a really exciting time. Since joining, we've become the first seed stage company to accept payments across the US, UK, and EU. So I had a pretty exciting journey, and selling the product's been super fun. So today I'm going to talk about consistency, focusing on mindset, email outreach, and events, as James mentioned as well. So I'd like to start with mindset, because this was one of my first challenges that I had when entering into sales. I joined Cladara straight from university and really struggled with the concept of, a dashboard and being so highly seen. Every demo counted, particularly as we were such a small sales team at the time. There was only 3 SDRs, 1 AE, and our head of sales. So I really felt that pressure week on week and seeing it on a dashboard compared to my colleagues, etc. But I quickly realized that once you know the steps that you need to succeed, you just need to keep repeating those steps, and it becomes an individual sport of consistency. So by that, you have a machine and you just keep feeding it, and then the results follow. So I soon stopped looking at the dashboard and focusing if there was a bit of a lull in the month, or if I was overachieving, I'd stop focusing on that, and I'd just keep on putting in that input, and eventually the output and the booking meetings would follow. However, what are those steps that you can take to succeed? So at Cladara, which is quite unusual, we only outreach via written communication. So predominantly email, a bit of LinkedIn, the occasional GIF, and some vidyards. So I've actually never picked up the phone, which is a bit different to other companies. And essentially, what is important about an email is, first of all, that subject line. So my top tip for that is to keep it mysterious. You need to keep interest and get that prospect to open your email through keeping it short and precise. Usually for general sequences, I'll just use a 1-word subject line. And then for more personalized C-suite sequences, I'll look at a specific company, perhaps use their growth or a role that they're hiring for, recent investment, or if there's a particularly fun LinkedIn profile, then I'll try and find a way that I can link that back to something about in their profile back to the product in the email. Then once in the email itself, there's 2 really important elements that I always follow, which is to stay precise and also empathetic. So for precision, keep it as short and sweet as possible. Decision makers are flooded with emails in their inbox every day, so it's really important to not overload them with information and unnecessary features that might not be relevant to their role. And again, this adds back to the mystery that I talked about earlier, which might lead them to click on your website and learn a bit more, or even take the step to book a call. Then I mentioned empathy because obviously we're all SDRs. We want to book those meetings. We've got targets. We like booking meetings. But it's really important to remember at the end of the day, decision makers are senior, high up people who 30 minutes of their time a day is really important and crucial to their schedule. So if they're actually taking time out of the day, you need to help them along the journey to show them why it's important to take that time. So to do this, there's 3 main things that I like to follow. I like to explain the problem first. And then once explaining the problem, finding a way that relates to them, I like to ask a rhetorical what-if question. And through that what-if question, kind of give them the imaginary scenario. What if we could save you 25% on software costs or something along the lines of that? And then thirdly, I like to keep it visual so that they can understand the product in a short glimpse without actually having to read too much detail, because again, they don't have much time. Whether that resource be an image or a white paper or any kind of ebook that your marketing department has written, anything's useful. Following that, keeping empathy in your follow-ups is also important because, if you push for that demo, more likely than not, they're going to ask you to unsubscribe. So I like to follow a push-pull technique, which is essentially where once they reply to me, whether it's positive or negative, usually they're engaged enough to, take their time to reply. So you should follow up answering their objection and also saying it might be easier to, hop on a quick call. If they don't get back to me, then I like to pull them in back to Cladara with a bit more information that was more giving. And I don't ask for any kind of, time or requirement that they have to sacrifice. And then again, consistency in your follow-ups. Keep going back, never stop, like 90 days, 180 days. You don't even want to know, just keep going. That's your pipeline, you've got to keep pushing it. And then finally, events. Obviously, empathy follows into events when you start speaking to people. You want to keep yourself, open to conversations rather than just pitching them your product. And that leads me to talk about energy. So more likely or not, at events, we met at SASTA EU in Barcelona. You're meeting hundreds of people a day, like they're pitching you their product and you're listening, but you're not really listening. What you're going to remember is the person and that interaction and that feeling that they gave you. So always keep super high energy. And the story that James and I actually met, I was just running around the events hall, like trying to chat to people, like trying to talk and see, who would be interested in software. I mean, it was a SaaS conference, so everyone's interested in software. But I was trying to see who would be interested in software. And I actually, lunchtime, everyone didn't want to talk to me. And I just bounced up to James and I was like, he was eating his lunch. And I was like, how are you doing? What are you here for? Obviously, we're talking a bit about Cladara, a bit about sales confidence, and then that is what led me to speak here today, from that interaction being such a positive and fun one rather than just, will you buy this? So yeah, my 3 main takeaways is consistently put your input in and you'll get your output. With your email outreach, consistently be precise and empathetic, and when you're at those events, be consistently energetic and just bring that good energy. So thank you. Woo!